What's good, Tribe? You know? So, make sure my camera good. We good over there? Okay. So, for those of you who know, um, my content is for men. For you fathers, young fathers who are trying to figure out how to be the best kind of dad they know how to be, man. And I want this is gonna be a very short video, but I want to get right to the point. No matter what kind of father you think you are, just be a dad, bro. That's it. That's the whole video, man. Just be a dad. Remember one time my baby girl was maybe 9, 10 years old, and I thought I always had to like go do extravagant shit for it, right? And one time we sat in my apartment and we watched TV. So I think I went and got her like early part of the day. So we went for a walk and we talked for a little bit. And on the way on our little walk, there was I don't know what this was. It was a squirrel or something. I said, "Hey, let's throw rocks at it." So we picked up these little pebbles. All right, we started throwing rocks at this thing, and it was that's what it was. It was like a weasel or something attacking something else. So we just decided we're gonna fuck with it, right? So we started throwing rocks at it, man, and she had a ball doing that. Like I just on a whim decided to do that. We got back home and I said, "Let's have lunch," right? So I got lunch, and there was a movie I wanted to watch, and I was like, "I want to watch a movie." And when and of course she was like, "Want to watch what I want to watch?" So I think we watched like some kind of guy flick or whatever it was, and she really liked the movie, right? She was really into the movie, asking questions and wanting to know what this was and what that was, and the kind of there was like a shooting movie, right? How come this guy was doing that kind of thing? And so, after our walk and we had a little snack, she fell asleep. And before as she was sleeping, I made us dinner. It was like I made breakfast for dinner: a couple of eggs, some sausages, and like 1 or 2 pancakes. Nothing big, right? So we had breakfast for dinner, and I took her home. And I remember, I remember, excuse me. I remember her saying to her mom how much fun she had, man. And her mom was so pissed. My daughter's mother and I never, ever, ever, ever in the history ever like agreed on anything. And if you ask her, I'm a horrible father, right? I'm the worst father ever. And I remember my daughter just saying she can't wait to do it again, right? And I think my weekends were every other weekend, and I have her like every Wednesday and Thursday, and then every other weekend kind of thing, right? So the following week I got on a Thursday, or went to get on a Thursday, and her mom made an issue of it. And a lot of times we as fathers, we often believe that it's everyone else's opinion about us that makes us the kind of fathers we are. And it's not. No one opinion of you matters other than your child. Like no one. If your child sees you as a good dad, then bro, you a good dad. Bump everybody else. Right? And so you may not be the ideal father, right? And even if you're a guy who doesn't have a job, man, but your child comes to see you, bro, you can make a day of that, man. Sit outside. Most children are, they like to do things with electronics. Go do something that you wouldn't normally do. Look, go to if you like here in Grand Rapids, we have the Grand River. Go to the Grand River at the park and throw rocks at the ducks. See if you can hit one, right? Right? Or like in Grand Rapids here, we have something called a fish ladder, and oftentimes the fish will jump up. What it is a multi-level kind of waterfall, and the salmon will normally jump up this multi-level. As the water's coming down, the fish would jump up, right, to get back to swim upstream to lay their eggs. And it's illegal, but my daughter and I, we would actually throw rocks at the fish, right? Nothing big, Like we just like see if we can hit one just to mess with them. And there's all kinds of things you can do with your child as a father, man. And a lot of times we think that we have to do these really magnificent things. Get outside, right? Go for a walk. And if you aren't really the outside type, go outside, right? Oh man, I don't really want to go outside. Take your ass outside anyway, right? Your child should touch grass. Your ass should probably touch some grass too. Um, let's say that you want to hop on a bus and you want to go downtown, right? Here in Grand Rapids, there's a tire swing, right? And it's a massive, massive tire swing. It's huge, as a matter of fact. And I think one year I took my daughter there. I took my wife too one time. And I put her on the swing and I push it. And it's humongous. It's like the poles that sit on like a couple 100 feet tall. The tire swing is massive. It's one of those giant tractor tires, right? And it's connected to these chains. And so I'm pushing this thing, and it's so big, and it swings so high. And at first, she was so scared. So I slowed it down, and I talked to her about it, and I talked to her, calmed her down. And she was, kind of scared because it was new. And I said, baby, you can do this. This is going to be fine. I said, how about this? How about dad push it, then I get it in with you, and we have fun, right? So I pushed it, and on the push back, I pushed and twisted, and I jumped in. So we're swinging and twisting at the same time on this big ass tire swing. And along come a couple guys, and then their sons. And the guy's like, he said, hey man, he said, how about we push it together? So we put all our kids on there, and then we pushed it all together, and then we all jumped in, right? And we laughed about it and had a good time, man. And one of the gentlemen had said, hey, we're going to get some ice cream. Y'all want to come? Now, we don't know these people. I was like, yeah, sure. And around the corner, on the street, like a kind of a street vendor, around the corner, there was a little ice cream truck, had ice cream. And I was like, we'll get a little something. He's like, no. Get whatever you want. No big deal. And we sat there, ate the ice cream, talked shit a little bit, and then we went on our way. And my daughter, she for a long time, she talked about how fun that was. And that entire experience cost us nothing. Now, we got lucky and found, or fortunate enough to found, other fathers who were with their children. And just so happened, I was with my daughter, so it kind of like worked itself out. But a lot of times, man, doing the simplest things with your children can create the most amazing moments in your life, man. Stop thinking that you have to be this phenomenal father. Bro, just be a good dad. Be a present dad. That's it. Be a present father. That's all, man. That's all. You don't have to have all the answers. My oldest daughter, not my oldest daughter, excuse me. My middle baby, she is one of those people who she gets overly stimulated really fast. So when she gets into her emotions and they get really going and they get really high, right? My wife doesn't know how to handle that. And oftentimes, everyone else kind of like distance themselves from her. I'll sit there with her. In her emotions, however she's feeling, I will sit there with her. And one time she asked me, she said, why do you do that? I said, baby, does it help? She said, yeah. I said, okay. My presence helped her more than me saying anything, buying her anything. Just me being there. And a lot of times, it's you just being there with your just being there. I'll say that one more time, y'all. Just being there can help your children or your child. And most of the time, not even saying anything sometimes is therapeutic. You don't have to always have the best words. You don't always have to have, the greatest insight. Now, will it help your child in the long run? Absolutely. Because there's going to come time when they're going to need help with something and they're going to need their father's opinion. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have all the answers. However, move my camera up. However, having some answers, having some insight will help. But oftentimes, your children just need you to be present. One thing that I found with my granddaughter, her being around me is the best thing for her. Like, it's exciting. She comes see Paw, and she has the best time ever. And my daughter talks about, it's my daughter's daughter, right? She talk about how every time she sees Paw, how excited she is when she calls Paw, she hears Paw voice, how she just know Paw. Cause I want to just do fun shit. She's a 1 year old. She's like 16, 17 months. And everything is new to her. So everything Paw does is going to be fun because I want her to experience life from the aspect of just being a baby, being a child, growing up and just being a child, and what that means for her, right? And raising, and, now that I'm a grandfather, the same thing applies. If you're a father, just being present a lot of times, man, is going to be the change factor for a lot of fathers, especially a lot of young fathers, because you don't know. And if you're a new dad, bro, you're gonna look. Let me explain something to you, man. As a new dad, you gonna jack this thing up all the time. You gonna fuck up all the time. You are, seriously, and you should, right? The belief is you should have all the answers. You should have it all figured out, have it all solved, and that's not necessarily true, man. Somebody knocking. Give me a second. And if you're a new dad, man, you think you need to have all the answers. That's a lie. We're all new parents. Every new parent is a new parent, right? You only have the information that your mom and dad may have given you if you're fortunate enough, right? And then they can only give you so much. Your child is going to be your child, a whole new person. There's not going to be another like them on the damn planet at all. You have no idea what you're doing. Yes, as a father, you're going to mess up. You're not going to make the best decisions. You're not going to always have the money. You're not going to always have the most optimal situation. It's not going to always be, not everything is going to be just going to fall in place. It's just not. And with that being said, man, accept the fact that you are human and it's okay not to have all the goddamn answers. Seriously. And for the times that you are lost and you don't know what to do and you have no answers, find other men you can lean into, right? It's one of the reasons why I created this channel, to have men lean into other men, ask other men like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing as it relates to this. Hey, I don't know what this is as it relates to, teaching your son how to go potty. Give you a quick little story, man. My nephew, he might have been, he was just coming out of diapers, right? So he was still kind of like about the whole diaper thing. And so my sister was trying to figure out how to teach him, right? So I was like, I can teach him. And she was like, you can? I'm like, yeah, why not? Right? So I can't teach him how to sit down and poop. That's something that I don't know how to teach him that. I didn't know how to teach him that. But what I told him was, I said, when you got to go poop, right? You feel it in your butt, go to the toilet. So, and I made it a game. I said, whenever you gotta go potty and Uncle here, let Uncle know, then go poop. And then come back and show Uncle, right? So what he did was, I'm sorry, and I know that's kind of like, for some of y'all gonna think it's kind of gross and cringy, but as an uncle, my nephew didn't have his father. So as an uncle, I kind of stepped into that role. And I would see it, I would go, oh, nephew, good job, man. And he was so excited. But when I first taught him how to go potty was how to pee. So I put Cheerios in the toilet. Serious shit. I'm telling you, I put Cheerios in the toilet. So I had these different colored Cheerios. I forget what the cereal was called. And for every one that he hit, right, if it sunk to the bottom, he got a treat for it. None of them ever did. Like, these cereal isn't designed for that, right? They got to sit there for a long time. But in his mind, that was his goal, to get it to sink to the bottom, right? And I was like, you got to make sure you hit it. You got to make sure you hit it and get to the bottom. You get to the bottom, Uncle give you a treat. And my sister said he took to it real well. Well, it's different because he actually can see Uncle peeing. So when we go potty, I would say, look, that's what you got to do. And I would stand there and I would go potty, right? I would say, look, you got to stand there. You got to, and I would show him what to do, right? And it's as awkward as that sound and seems, even hear me say it, it's kind of strange. But how else do you teach a boy to go potty, right? And he took to it real well, man. And in school, when he finally started to go to school, the school he was going to, the preschool, anyway, they had a potty award. So for every child that went to the potty on their own, they got a like a little star. He was the only boy who got 7 or 8 stars every week, all the time, because he'd take himself to go potty. And my sister was so happy. And I remember her being ecstatic about having that to be one less thing having to teach her son. And, you know, unfortunately, my nephew, his father wasn't there, so his father missed out on that. But as a father, man, having to teach your son those, and that's a small milestone of the massive amounts of things as a father you're going to teach your son, right? That small thing would translate to like how they develop problem solving skills, how they actually evolve when talking with people, how they, how to deal with, when they're frustrated and they need to figure something out, how to actually do that. That small moment is going to translate into massive, massive skills when my nephew becomes an adult, because it was, taught to him at, what I call a controlled environment, right? And it's the same way we're raising your sons, right? Teaching your sons, right? Small, significant problem solving skills. Like a great example is giving your children dry cereal in a bowl, right? Having them go sit down in front of the TV and eat the cereal. And they drop it, right? This is not a moment to be like, I can't believe you. This is a teachable moment. Okay. Oh, okay. You dropped some, right? You got to pick it up. Okay, you dropped him, you got to pick him up, right? And most parents would say, don't eat off the floor. If you're a parent, you have more than one child, you know that eating off the floor once or twice in life, they'll be fine. So, and have your son put him back in the bowl and go sit down. That teaches them that I can make mistakes. I can do things, not the best sometimes, but I'm not a bad person because I do that. And a lot of parents, especially fathers, we want to punish our children when they do something as simple as having dry cereal and then dropping it on the floor, right? My grandbaby sometimes would take care of cereal and she would throw it, right? So I told her, I said, hey, you can throw your cereal. You can't throw it across the room, right? We got a little area for it, right? I said, you can throw it over there, you can throw it here, but you can't throw it over there. You want to throw it right here? You can do that. That's fine. And so one time she took it and she was like, right in front of her. And she looked at me. And I ain't say nothing. I'm looking right at her. I ain't say nothing. So she did it again. And then she realized, oh, I can throw my cereal, just not everywhere else. And so she'll take some and she'll be like, whoop, whoop. And it's like maybe a foot or so in front of her. And she has a little bowl. I sat down in front of her. And every now and again, she'll go try to make a shot. Right? Now, I could actually, most parents would punish her for that. But the goal is to let them learn that it's okay to make mistakes. And as a father, that lesson applies to you as well. It's okay to not always have the answers. It's okay to sometimes mess up because you're going to. And it's okay to not take yourself so seriously. One thing our children don't need is you're not raising soldiers. They don't need drill sergeants and military leaders. They need parents. They need present, active parents. And they're not going to be perfect, and you should never expect your child to want to be perfect. You shouldn't. And I want to encourage you to, this week, try to be the best parent you can be. So if this is the week that you get your child, right, and you get your child on the weekends, and this happens to be one of the weekends, you get your child, accept the fact that they're going to mess up on some things. Accept the fact that not everything requires you to be like, hey, let them learn, let them grow, let them become, healthy, happy adults, man. And remember that you're not raising soldiers. You're raising souls. You're raising human beings. You're raising the future. And That's a huge responsibility, man. Listen, so in the description box of this video and every other video, you'll find my Become a Better Father program. It's the first module of my program. And you'll find the complete course if you want it. That's also in the description box. I want y'all to, take use of that resource, right? You shouldn't have all the answers. No father does. Even as many fathers as exist on this planet, we still don't have all the answers. We just don't, right? So check out that resource in the description. If you want the full course, that's also in the description. The first module is free, but the course is it does cost you. And just try to be the best dad y'all can be, man. Seriously. I'm out, Tribe. Peace.